every Wednesday night. Hey, everybody. It is Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We are on the Recyard Women's Prison Podcast. I'm Marci Marie.
I'm Toonche.
And Toonche, we're not actually live.
I don't know why you tell them that. They would never know.
They would know we're not responding to the chat. We have such an incredible community on here that I know is going to be blowing up this chat, even though we're pre-recording this week.
You're supposed to just kind of pretend to be live so that people still feel like it's live. Let me tell you though. Now I tried, this is how I screwed this up one time. So we recorded Lola getting out of hobby, me and Diane and Michelle. And so then I played it later on that evening like a live, right? Well, here's what I did wrong. So I had to stitch together two pieces of it because something happened anyway. I had to do it in two recordings and stitch it. Well, I overlapped. And so I keep seeing, I'm in the chats, right? Even though I'm like, people should know that you don't get released at 6 o'clock in the evening, but okay. They seem very excited. And then somebody goes, man, I feel like y'all just said that. Why are y'all repeating yourself? I said, busted, totally busted. This isn't alive.
When you said you had messed up one time, I was really sure that you were going to say when we had Rosie O'Donnell as a guest on our show. Yes, folks, Rosie O'Donnell was on the Recyard, and we had to pre-record. You remember that, Toonche? I was on an airplane back from LA, and you had the responsibility of streaming the recording.
Yes.
And I'm on the airplane and I pay the $20 because I'm on American Airlines. I don't get free Wi-Fi. I have to pay for it. And I pay so that I can watch the live streaming and interact with you guys in the chat. And what happened?
Yeah. So, we'd pre-recorded. We were going to play it like a live because it's just more fun, you guys, when it's live. So we try to make sure you have that experience, even if it's not completely live. Marci was going to get in the chat and, we were going to do the thing. And so as I was streaming it, and Melissa was behind me putting together newsletters for Lioness, I was in a wife beater and my hair was all over my head. And we were just eating and looking crazy. Well, anyway, so it's playing. And I was screen sharing I couldn't upload the video for some reason. And what happened, it was raining and the electricity, boop, and blinked and clicked the live off. I said, damn. So I got back on there and I thought, I can just hit the resume. Well, what happened? And Marci saw it. And Marci saw it. It said, boop, and it brought me live full screen.
In your little tank top, in your undershirt. And those shirts are the same kind of shirts that my papa wore under his shirts. This old man with this wild hair wearing this little tank top.
And Melissa's sitting there and she turns around and I said, oh my God. And then I came back on once I adjusted my clothes and I told Melissa move. And I said, hi, everybody. So here's what happened. I don't know if I can get it back right to the spot. And you were like, Jennifer, just do it. Just do it. And I said, okay, here we go. And then I completely re-edited it and redid it so that I don't think that version is out there anywhere unless you kept it on your YouTube page. I think you got rid of it.
Did I get rid of it?
Yeah, because I told you, I said, look, I streamed it again. I uploaded the video. There is no half-naked Toonche in the middle of the episode. Like, y'all, it was like this. It was pretty bad.
That was our first big celebrity spotlight on our show.
And jacked up the live.
And it messed up. It was a ball. Now, we have had some other less known celebrities. I would say Carrie Blakinger. She's a bit of a celebrity. We
She's a
had
celebrity in my heart.
Oh, here we go. You heard that, Carrie. You well, we've had Michael Galloway with Ex-Cons Fitness. He's a,
Mhm.
a TikTok superstar. We've had hey, Jesse Crossan, Second Chancer. We've had some. He's got like over 1 million. And then I'll tell you what, we need to do this.
Hey, Toonche, let's do a weekly recap.
I don't know what that hesitation was. It was
For
it was
sure.
it was the computer, guys. This is what I want to do the weekly recap because I just want to say how extraordinary our show was last week and how it made my heart just almost explode with love and joy for you all. You guys showed up and showed out in a major way. And we had a lot of drop in guests saying what they were thankful for on the show. So if you guys that are watching right now missed last week, you for sure want to go back and watch that episode or listen to that episode if you prefer that way. But definitely check it out. We also had a lot of our friends send in videos about what they were grateful for. So we had, and those friends are a lot of big social media folks. We had Colin Ray drop in, Morgan Godvin, um, don't Cliff Panizich. Don't get me to leaving people out, Toonch, but we did have just a lot of people, a lot of love, a lot of support for the show, support for each other, support for community.
Yeah, we had a lot of our fellow advocates. It was really nice. And Mandy told me later, she goes, "That was such a great show. It really was." And it worked well. The technology part, I want to honor that too, Marcy, because you nailed it. It was good. It worked. Man, I do want to say, watch that episode and enjoy it for the holiday joy it was and the production value too. And then I want you to go watch me and Marcy's first video. And I want you to really cherish how far we've come. We really
Yeah,
have. Because I've always said, like, we need to have like this. We have links that you're supposed to be able to send to anybody, and they can just pop on, and you can pop them on and off. And you did it. It was great.
it was great. It was a good show. And yeah, I mean, I teared up, I laughed, all of it, laughed, cried, all of it. It was a great show. So for sure.
And I did the turkey call at the end.
I cut that part off. No, I'm just kidding. It's there. And I'm sorry in advance for anyone who watches to the very last 5 seconds of the show.
It was, um, it was just pure gold. It's just a part of my Thanksgiving tradition is to make what I think is a very authentic sounding turkey.
I had a girlfriend in prison once, and in fact, she was my first prison girlfriend, my first
Oh boy,
girlfriend in prison. Shout out Taylor, who
it's a
is
great name.
now goes by she now goes he, I should say he, now goes by London. But so shout out London. And but I will tell you, he could do a firecracker noise, and it sounded like a real firecracker. It sounded like a fireworks.
Like
Like
the
he just
sizzling or the
no, like a
ah,
like that, except it could trick you. It could be a sound effect. What was that old Police Academy where that guy did all
oh
those? Am I
yeah.
showing my age?
What
Did
was
I
his
just
name?
show my age?
Reebok retro. Yes, and
Re
he would do all the little
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And he could do all that's it was that caliber. It was that level. And so and it was 4th of July, and I remember thinking, so every 4th of July, this is your jam, and
It's your
and
moment to
so
shine, London.
yeah, you have that for Thanksgiving. You have the turkey gobble. So every Thanksgiving, that's your little 5 minutes or 5 seconds of fame.
You said Why can we not see your face? And I was like, I can't. I have to lean down to the microphone to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I noticed that you have the snowman mug.
Oh, this is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
pure delight. Well, because I bought 2 mugs at Marshall's. I'm a coffee mug, believe it or not, because you've been to my apartment. I don't really have a lot of things because I'm the opposite of a hoarder. I'm a minimalist, and I'll just go crazy and throw everything away. I don't know why. It eases my anxiety. But anyway, I have a tendency to be a softie for coffee mugs, and I found this guy. I wanted a Christmas mug, and
So it's a little snowman, I see, and it's a good size. It
it's
looks like it holds a good amount of coffee.
look,
And since you drink your coffee until it's ice cold, you don't even mind.
it's cold right now. Now, I want you to know, now when Christmas passes, I will pull out the other mug that I got that is a snake. I'm sure Taylor will be announcing Reputation by then, so it'll be a whole theme. So get ready. If you thought I was unbearable up until this point, Marci Marie Ray, wait until Taylor re-releases Reputation. It's
Toonche,
going to be bad. It's going to be
Toonche,
bad.
Toonche, you made it 11 minutes and 13 seconds before you brought up Taylor. So
It's incredible.
it's not too bad for you. Yeah. It's really not.
Stunning.
Did anything else happen this past week?
Oh man, hold on. Let me look on my calendar because
Yeah.
I just everything is so busy that I have to reflect back to my calendar
I
at
feel
what we
like the
did.
best part of last week for me was the
Really,
show.
yeah, oh yeah, I think you're right. I had some stuff I had to turn in for work. We did get our we mentioned last week. We've got our holiday parties coming. I don't think we told everybody about the Dallas one last week, did we?
I don't even know if we knew about the Dallas one yet. I'm really not sure, but what's going on is there are close to 600 kids, youth, incarcerated in the Texas Juvenile Justice Department. And Lioness, Justice Impacted Women's Alliance, has teamed up with Girls Empowerment Network, Texas After Violence Project, and Texas Center for Justice and Equity, the Finish the Five campaign, to send in a little bit of love and hope inside of a greeting card to each and every one of those incarcerated youth. And how is this happening? We are having 2 card writing parties. One is in Austin, and that is on Friday, December 8th in the evening, Friday evening. Information's on all of our social media platforms. And then the other one is coming up in just a few days in Dallas, Texas. I will be at both. Toonch will definitely be at Austin. Are you going to make it to Dallas? Do you know?
No, because I'm going to the storybook thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, that's right. That's right. Okay, so and that's okay. So, if you don't want to have to deal with major Taylor Swifty stuff, definitely show up in Dallas. If you wanna talk about Toonch behind her back, that's the time. I'm down. I will be there. But no, I'll be in Dallas, and I'm going to do my best to be in Austin. So, the one in Dallas, though, is at a kind of a fun little place, and it is at the Well Grounded Coffee Community on Garland Lane or Garland Avenue, I don't know, but, that is a coffee shop that is owned and ran by formerly incarcerated women.
What a great match. What a great
Yeah.
match.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be there. I'm really excited to meet those folks in person, and, yeah, so that's what we have going on. If you wanna participate, we would absolutely love to have you check out our social media. Anything else, Toonch, before we get into it? Because we're talking about it. We're talking about a true crime situation today. We don't do that very often, but there is a Texas lady, a Texas woman out of Toonche's town, Austin,
Yeah.
and Kaitlin Armstrong got sentenced to 90 years, and we want to talk about that and what that looks like for her.
Yeah, so let's get into it. And I will say, um, in regards to true crime, a lot of true crime is problematic, terrible. But I am, believe it or not, a true crime fan, and this is why, Marcy, because it makes me not feel so alone, and it makes me know that other people struggle with all the things that I've struggled with my mental health or complicated relationships. Like this, this is a human condition, right? Like, so I just try to stay away from the kind that is really problematic. But I feel like, when we discuss certain cases that are in the media, especially women, like I feel like it's ours to tell and share and analyze and look at to help people understand the dynamics that all those other uh, social media content creators or whatever, news reports get wrong about incarcerated women and women who may have committed, violent acts. So,
Yeah, I agree with you. Sometimes you kind of are watching true crime and it's in a very exploitive, um, not looking at the whole picture type of uh, this monster in the streets kind of attitude look at it when we were incarcerated with people that did all kinds of crimes. And so we know there's a whole range, a whole scope to that person. And it's not just that one act doesn't define who that person is. There's all kinds of circumstances that go around. So, Kaitlin Armstrong, I did just for factual stuff. There was a little news channel that has a TikTok on her. Should I go ahead and play that?
yeah, so people know the circumstances.
She spent 40 days on the run, had plastic surgery to change her appearance, and literally went on the run again trying to escape from police custody. We're talking about Kaitlin Armstrong. She's heading to trial for allegedly shooting a pro cyclist to death. Here's what we know. The woman she allegedly shot, Anna Wilson, was romantically linked to Armstrong's boyfriend, Colin Strickland. He too was a professional cyclist. Wilson was shot dead in Austin, Texas last May, just hours after meeting up with Strickland. Investigators believe Wilson was unknowingly in a love triangle. She briefly dated Strickland while he and Armstrong were on a break, which allegedly made Armstrong furious. Armstrong's Jeep was reportedly captured on surveillance video outside the house where Anna was found dead on the night of the homicide. And this case gets even creepier. Officials say days after police questioned Armstrong about the incident, she sold her Jeep, flew from Austin to Newark, New Jersey, and literally vanished for weeks. Come to find out, she fled the country and started making a life for herself in Costa Rica. When cops caught up with her, she looked completely different. She had dyed her hair, cut it short, and reportedly had just done more than $6,000 worth of plastic surgery. She was captured, and we haven't heard much about her since until earlier this month when video captured her trying to run from sheriff's deputies after a doctor's appointment. While cuffed and restrained, she even tried to jump a fence. Armstrong's trial kicks off this week. We'll keep you updated right here on Law and Crime.
And there it is, like in a nutshell, exactly what happened before she went to trial. And let me just tell you, her and the guy, Colin Strickland, were on a relationship break. This is, if you are on a break, if you are in a long-term committed relationship with somebody and y'all decided y'all need a break, don't go looking for somebody else. That does not mean a break is not a break up to me.
Well, and that's, that's the thing, right? And I've watched some other specials that go into more detail about her relationship with the guy, his relationship with the lady who died. And When I look at toxic relationships, and I'm always looking through the lens of mental health, right? Because you and I have discussed a lot of the women we know, including ourselves, have borderline personality disorder, which are uh, extreme mood swings. We can do a whole episode on it. In the media, we've been portrayed as, you know, the the girls in Girl Interrupted or Fatal Attraction, like, which, by the way, that movie breaks my heart because my heart breaks for Alex in that movie, right? Because that intensity of those feelings and that complication of that relationship. And so when I was watching the history and the dynamics of this playing out, well, I mean, I don't know how to put it any other way. The guy's a narcissistic. I mean, he is. Like, the dynamics that they're talking about between their relationship and the kind of lies that he's telling this other woman, that she's like, being treated hot and cold, which we call intermittent reinforcement. That's how you get people hooked, right? You give them attention, you take it away, you give them and it makes people frantic, right? Like, he was doing those dynamics with both of those women, and Kaitlin had been in a relationship for a long time with him, and that's the toxic dance of people with, symptoms of personality disorders. BPD people are often attracted to people with narcissistic personality disorder. So that was the dynamic that it seemed to me, Marci. And so I feel really sad and bad, of course, for the lady that got killed, because she didn't know what she was walking into, and she was just as much a victim under this guy's back and forth and irresponsibility with other people's emotions.
Yeah, she didn't know that they were in this relationship and that they had been doing this dance and were on a break, and then she got sucked in to his, I mean, I'm not just trying to make the man the villain. I know it seems like that we do that, but oftentimes, guess what,
It
guys?
is.
The man is the villain. So
in
many
this
women we
dynamic.
were incarcerated with, Toonche, when I think about the number of women we were incarcerated with that were doing time behind some man, or how many times we heard the story that started with, well, there was this guy. What
Yeah.
happened? Why are you here? Well, there was this guy. And that's kind of what this is. This is not to lessen
Right.
Caitlin's actions, and not to lessen the horrible loss that um, that Anna Wilson's family is feeling, and her community, and her cyclist community, and all of that. But yeah, there was this guy.
Well, let me ask you, as a woman that has struggled with mental health, right? And I don't know Caitlin's diagnosis, but I know that behaving like this is indicative of certain disorders. Let's say it was you and Britt, and then y'all say, we need a break. We're going on break. And you find out she's dipping and dapping with some young woman in another town.
Oh, it's a wrap.
Like, what would your unhealed self do?
My unhealed self would first of all, for whatever reason, my mental always goes to attacking the other woman, whether she knows it or not, whether she's actively participating in whatever I think is going on in my head or what is perceived on the outside. I still, that's my first target. And I hone in on that. And so for me, if that were to happen now, right now, my partially healed self, I still would fixate on her. I would be looking at all of her social media. I would drive by her house, by her workplace. I would try to catch her at the grocery store. I would make my presence known in a weird, stalker, scary kind of way to intimidate her. I mean, this is now. So I can't imagine what it would have been 10 years ago, So uh no, it could be me if I had got sucked into that kind of relationship. And quite frankly, my first marriage didn't look that much different, and there were lots of times that I imagined doing very bad things to women that my husband had at the time had messed around with or cheated on with. I mean, it could be me. I could be in there with a 90-year prison sentence. I could be Kaitlin Armstrong. And a lot of people that watch me on my social media or even on this show would maybe find that hard to believe. But you know who wouldn't? My parents. My
Yeah.
parents who have seen my mental health at its finest, shining bright. You know who else wouldn't? Some of the ladies I was incarcerated with, they would believe it because they have seen that side of me. My first husband, he would believe it. And even Brittany, my wife right now, who we have a very healthy relationship, she would believe it because she knows enough about how my brain works, and when it's not in a healthy state, how my thought process works.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Things happen and you believe them to be true. You
Right.
can make up a whole scenario in your mind and believe it wholeheartedly. Like I can just imagine Kaitlin thinking, and I'm not going to presume to know what Kaitlin was thinking. I don't know. I don't have a clue,
Mhm.
but I can imagine if it's anything like what the way my mental health works is I can imagine her picturing this scenario where the girl pursues her man and the man asks for a break so that he can be with this girl, and this girl just uses her women whatever to lure her man in. And I can believe that happened, and that just kind of it hurts her so badly that the only way she can not feel that hurt is to act out.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, and that's it, right? Like, you know, I and I ask you that so that people can know that this is a thing, right? Like, especially with women that have underlying mental health problems. Like, I think any partner would be upset and get jealous and upset, because I think the guy kind of broke it off and then said he wouldn't talk to her or whatever, but he was still quietly, secretly doing it and still up to it, right? And I'm imagining for myself, like the only relief to that anxiety and that obsession is acting out. Like it is relief. And you think that if I escalate and act out, then that will make it go away. And it never makes it go away. It makes it worse, right? Marci, I never took it out on the person that my girlfriend, because it isn't just men, right? It is, women will be toxic in the same way this guy was, but it's usually men, right? But I I wouldn't take it out on the people they were dipping around with. I would take it out on them. And but the obsession and the panic and the helplessness and the I'm constantly trying to catch you and I'm reading into everything and I'm stalking, and that kind of feeds on it, and then I get paranoid. Right? Like my second offense, that burglary, I broke into my I believe she was still my girlfriend because I felt like we were on a break. And she'd went out for her birthday with her sister, and that's all she did. And I guess what? I showed up there and pounced around and made my presence known at the bar, right? And then when they left, I got in a cab and went to her house, banged on the door, screamed, cried, and then got up on the roof and fell asleep. Now, when I woke up, I am I am so paranoid. I have created a whole story about what is happening. She's got somebody in there. She's been lying to me. She's been cheating on me. Like all this stuff that I have worked myself up into a frenzy about. And then I act out. And none of it was true. Some of the toxic things that went on in our relationship were true, but like all the paranoia and the obsession, it just, I don't know how to describe it in a way that people can understand. When it gets that bad to where you've acted out, there, it almost feels like there's no other option. There's no other relief. I need this to stop. I need it to stop.
So Kaitlin ends up going to trial.
Yeah.
So I want to play this other little video that's just 40 seconds long.
Breaking news, Kaitlin Armstrong has been found guilty. Kaitlin Armstrong was found guilty today by a jury of taking the life of Mariah Mo Wilson. The jury returned a verdict in just over 2 hours. As you may remember, Mariah and the suspect Kaitlin were in a love triangle with Kaitlin's boyfriend. Kaitlin and the boyfriend had a quote on and off relationship. After taking the life of Mo at her home in May of 2022, she fled to Costa Rica. After 5 weeks, she was captured and returned back to the U.S. Once back in the U.S. during a transport, she also attempted to escape by climbing a wall. She was again taken back into custody where she awaited her trial. As a refresher, or if you haven't heard of this case, click the playlist below. I'll keep you guys updated. What do you think? Drop in the comments.
And let me say that it's Mariah Wilson. Mariah is the victim. And I think I said Anna before, because I think that other video said Anna, so it put that in my mind. But it's Mariah, and she went by Mo. I wanted to talk about a couple things. Like, do you think that Kaitlin had a plan? I mean, like an escape plan, like I'm going to do this and then I'm going to go to Costa Rica? Or do you
No.
think it was a reaction?
I think it was everything she has done has been impulse. And again, I'm just looking symptomatic, like, because I don't want to remind you of the fish. Right. Impulse. I'm just going to get up. Okay, well, I'm going to take care of this. This is done.
Mhm.
Oh, well, I didn't mean to do this. And well, it's too late now. It's impulsive. And I think that there is some premeditation a little bit in terms of her going to the lady's house, but that wasn't well thought out. It wasn't well thought out at all. You drove in your own vehicle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't take this no more. I'm gonna go stalk this lady. And then I just impulsively do this thing. I get questioned, and now I've fled the country, right? Like, I think all of it was just impulsive. And just like her taking off during her medical appointment in Travis County Jail. That was not planned. Because where did you think you were going? Dressed in county jail blue, uniform, in chains, running in downtown. Where were you going? That's just impulse.
Yeah. That's just that flight or fight kind of. Well, they said that hours before the victim lost her life, hours before this terrible act took place, the victim was with Strickland. She was with the man. They were swimming, and she was just kind of clueless. They said that she didn't know she was in a love triangle. She didn't know that there was this huge issue going on. And I'm just thinking, yeah, I'm just thinking right now, even just the thought about my wife being with someone, like, even right now, knowing, girl, I'm not going back to prison, but even knowing just the ugliness that I feel inside, I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
I can't. I mean, I'm just even reflecting on this is the type of energy and, I know we're not supposed to use the word crazy, but craziness and obsession and intensity, emotional dysregulation, the inability to deal with stress, and the way that that is magnified in a romantic relationship. All of my encounters with the criminal justice system were this. It was behind stuff like this. And so, like, when I see this, it's like, dude, I feel bad for everybody involved. I do tend to, I don't want to say side, I don't mean side, but I do tend to really empathize with the person that has done the thing, because I know that their guilt and their hurt will live on. They will never escape that, right? The 90 years they gave Kaitlin will never change that. And I know what that feels like, and I know what it's absolutely unbearable emotional intensity, that you're just chaotic. You don't know how to regulate your emotions. You don't know how to set boundaries. You don't know how to walk away from this person. You don't know how to stop picking relationships that stop doing this dance.
Because it completely consumes your mind. It is in every thought of every day. You can be having a conversation with someone about something completely different, and that is still playing in your head over and over and over. And so, yeah, for sure. We have got to talk about this 90-year sentence in a Texas prison. And not only did Kaitlin take off to Costa Rica, change her hair, get plastic surgery. Not only that, but then when she was in custody, she got that escape charge.
She's escaped again.
She
Marci,
ran.
we both know Kaitlin is never leaving cell block. She's never leaving cell block. If you have an escape charge, you cannot leave cell block. So that means she's always going to be locked in a cell, always. The rest of us, we can, when we're bad, we go to cell block. We go to cell block. Marci knows. But then some of us find ways to avoid it. But we at least have this, kind of a tiered, even the people with over 50 years, they kind of have a tiered level of, okay, well, you don't have to be in cell block anymore. Now you have to stay in this one dorm and stay locked in a certain way in certain jobs. But you finally, after a certain amount of time, you get to go to the regular dorms. And that, I mean, I would hate living in cell block because I just like my freedom in the dorm. She can never, ever live in the dorm. Never.
So coming from a somebody familiar with what cell block looks like in prison, since and that's medium custody. So in Texas, that's a custody level. Its custody levels are G1 through G5. G1 is the most lenient and G5 is the least lenient. So that means a G4 custody level. And that means you are in cell block housing. In Texas prisons right now, there's only one job you can have as a G4, and that has varied throughout the years, but right now and for most of the time, it has been field squad. So if you are, and Kaitlin's a healthy 35-year-old, she's probably going to the field squad, because the only other option is just to stay in your cell all day without a job if you're medically restricted for some reason. Anyways, the field squad is, man, and from cell block, you get stripped out of your cell. It's crazy.
All the time.
I don't know if you've ever been in cell block when they called host squad out to work. It's serious. You have to be standing at the door, not just standing at the door to strip to get out. You have to be butt naked,
Oh,
standing at your cell door. I need to do a video on that. You have to be, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter where your roommate's at. It doesn't matter if your roommate works host squad, y'all are both standing there butt naked. It doesn't matter if there are Lieutenant Warren, the lieutenant down in the bottom, other male down in the bottom. Well, guess what? In cell block, when your cell light is on and your light has to be on, it's like if you imagine turning off all your lights in your house and looking out and seeing the neighbor's house lights on and you can see everything in their house. Well, that's how it is in cell block. They can see through those doors lit up like a Christmas tree and you're standing there naked. And that's how you have to be standing. And if you're not there standing at your door with the light on butt naked, when the host squad boss passes your door, you're getting passed up for work. What does that mean? That means you're not going to work. That means you're getting a disciplinary case. I mean, that's how her days are going to start. That's how her days Monday through Friday are going to start. So then you go out and you're working and it's like plantation work. You've worked host squad, Toonche. It's in the fields, pulling weeds, in the heat, hauling hay. It's all of that. Yes,
I
it's
just
all
can't
of
even
that.
imagine, Marci, the times that I have had since being home over the past, guess what? December 13th will be 5 years. Yep. Taylor Swift's birthday. In those 5 years, I have had, I call them flare ups. I've been symptomatic with this obsessing and what is she doing? And she's lying to me and all that. And it was like breaking a sound barrier. I just got through it. Finally, for the first time in my life, I survived all of my emotions in that situationship without acting out. Now, I'm not saying I was perfect. I said some very hurtful things and I behaved very cuckoo. I did. But thank God she lived in another state and I had enough space in between that I could calm myself down and think it through, right? Like I couldn't just get in my car like Kaitlin and see where somebody is on their GPS tracker that I've put on their car, which I wouldn't be above that, right?
I wouldn't either.
Right?
Baby,
Like,
I wouldn't either.
so I mean, it was immediately accessible to her to follow and go stalk, but it wasn't for me, and I survived, and I'm so grateful. And it taught me that I can regulate my emotions because when I think about going back to prison, and for anybody that's listening, because every once in a while we get those strange people that show up in our community that everybody has to run off because they say something buck ass wild. Like, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. I survived despite prison. It didn't teach me anything. And, oh, well, now you don't want to go back to prison because it's so bad. No, I survived despite all that. But I think about just listening to you describe that and me imagining that would be my life with a sentence with 90 years with no escape from that. It makes me feel like I'm going to hyperventilate. I can't even fathom it. Nothing and no one on this planet is worth me ever having to endure any of that shit ever again. And I just feel so bad that, the lady's dead and gone. She don't have a chance. Kaitlin's chances are gone. She may make a life for herself there, but, so much is lost there. And here's the kicker, because I've been in this situation. I did all this shit, and then I hear from other people, girl, this girl's gone on and been with somebody else and living her life like it's golden. And so she's going to have to hear from other people that he's already, I'm sure, moved on and been with other people.
There's a chance that there was another player. Like if you've got a guy that kind of, or a person that operates that way anyway, it probably didn't. He had some on the back burner. He
Oh,
might
sure.
have not been full blown affair mode, but I promise he had some that he had planted little seeds with, flirted with, complimented, been just a little inappropriate, testing the waters with, and they're right there. And gosh dang, she's going to hear about it, and I hope I hope I hope she doesn't hear about it. I hope whomever her support team is in that little community, that they just, of course, she might ask about it. I would. I'd be asking.
Well, I mean, I obsessed on it for a long time, and and I remember just like, what have I done all of this for? And it was never, and I had to, through my therapy, it's not about that person. It's about the things they triggered inside of me, my fears of rejection and abandonment. And so it's not even about the guy, and maybe she'll figure that out. Or she'll repeat that pattern and hook up with some girl that is a carbon copy of that, and then she will be G5'd and in AdSeg for cutting people and flipping out and doing all that bit. She just made this so much worse when she escaped the first time, and then the second time, she just continued to make this worse for her. And this is what I always tell myself, Marci, and you will probably agree with me, is that all of us, when we have escalated and acted out when stuff like this has happened, yes, someone has passed away, of course, but the person that always suffers is always us. It's always me, right? When I act out and I do something, it's me. I get I'm tired of the consequences, right? So you hurt me, you cheat on me, lie to me, treat me crazy or whatever, gaslight me and play with my head. I act out, beat you up, throw myself through your window, drive to another state and sit there and stalk you and the girl that you're talking to. I'm not saying I did that, but I thought about it because I wasn't sure if that was her friend or not. And because I'm paranoid. And then at the end of the day, I do all that and I get in trouble and I go to jail and I go to prison. And guess it, I'm doing this to myself. I'm tired of that. And it just hurts me when I see situations like this because everybody suffers. But at the end of the day, Kaitlin's going to continue to suffer over all of it. The things she did and what she did to herself.
It's tragic all the way around. I mean, the ripple effect of this is so massive. I mean, when you just get to be thinking about family and friends that have lost their loved ones, the negative impact on the community there. I mean, the negative impact on, guess what? Kaitlin's family. Kaitlin's family is hurting tremendously over this. Like it's just, there are so many. Maureen Wilson was a victim, a tragic victim. That was a tragic loss of life, but she is not the only victim in this. It just goes on, and including Kaitlin's actions. Now this 90 years in a Texas prison, she'll be in a maximum security unit. And even on Mountain View. Now, Mountain View is a smaller unit. It is maximum security. It's a little bit nicer because it's a smaller unit. And but even there, the cell block is not. My best friend just came out of cell block. She just came out of G4 housing. They didn't get to go to rec. They were short staffed. At one point she wrote me and she said, I have not been outside rec for 40 days.
And that cell block is little. Like y'all cell block at Lane Murray was tiered and big and it sucked too, but it just seems like that little bitty cell block feels more. I used to clean down there It's so tiny and it's so dark. And now I will say that cell block is air conditioned. However, that air condition did not always work. The dorms always did, but the cell block one, and when you're in a building that's designed for air conditioning and it goes out, it is way hotter than the dorms that weren't and have fans. And I just, man, 90 years and never leave that cell block. Lord have mercy. I don't.
So is she eligible for, does she have a parole eligibility? Like, is her halfway mark a parole eligibility date?
45 years.
So she'll be 80. At 80 years old, she'll be eligible.
I mean, because when you get a 90-year sentence, it's actually more than a life sentence, because in Texas, you have to do 40 years on a life sentence. So 90. And that's how mad that jury was.
That's what I was going to say. They actually, so it was up to the jury for sentencing, and the prosecutor said, can we start at 40 years? And then that was their recommendation as the minimum. We're asking for 40 years and you guys go from there. So that jury got to that room and added 50 years onto that 40.
And let me say this for those of y'all that are not from Texas. Austin, Travis County, okay, the city of Austin it has more conservative slant than one would think, but because we're still in Texas. But Austin is an extremely liberal, very laid back, I understand all the nuances here. Like I'm not, it's almost, it's just so different than the rest of Texas and Dallas and Houston, right? So for a jury in Austin to hand down a big sentence, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. And I think this goes to, untreated mental illness and abusive relationships. And the women pay the price while the dude gets to go on and enjoy his life. And
yeah. I don't know. And no doubt he experienced some trauma, but also, just like you said, he's going to move on, and these two women are not. They're not going to move on and have a life. So yeah, that going back to cell block, so you come back from work and you don't get to shower when you want. You have to be let out of you have to be in line for showers, and then you have to be locked in a cage for the showers, and then you go back to your cell, and then they have an hour in the day room and an hour on the rec yard. I think on the weekend it's more. It might be 2 hours in the day room, but that's it. That's the only time you're out of your cell. So that's it. That's the only time you can use the phone. That means if it's your kid's birthday and their bedtime is at 7, and that's when day room time is, you don't get to call your kid on their birthday, because your first opportunity to use that phone is at 7 o'clock. Or if your family works nights, because the thing about general population, you can use the phones from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So no matter what shift somebody works, you still have an opportunity to make a phone call. So just
made her life so much worse.
Yeah.
The impulsive decisions. And, there were times even, I mean, I remember being, whether it be in transport, especially when I was a juvenile, right? Like, I knew that I could slip out of my cuffs, and I'm in just the back seat of a car with the probation officer, because I'm from Russ County, little bitty ass county. So she's just toting me around in her car. The ceiling, she had one of them old grandma Buicks, where the the ceiling part was like hanging down, like the little
Right.
fabric. Like, it was not a secure vehicle. And I remember us stopping somewhere. She was getting some. She was at the bank, stopping to pick something up at the bank for herself, doing her errands. And I'm sitting back there, and I was like, I could slip out, unlock this car, and run. I remember at the juvenile facility out in West Texas, I'm buffing the floors, and they've got me in the visitation with the front door, just metal doors that you push like at the grocery store. I was like, I'm just going to take off. And it, at least my impulsiveness without that fuel of romantic obsession is like, bitch, where are you going? We are in the middle of West Texas.
Right. At least there was a little bit of conscious cognitive thinking there, because I think that anybody that is in a confined situation, jail, prison, handcuffs, locked doors, you have it in your mind, how could I get out? Because it's an unnatural state to be confined like that. And we have a friend, a fellow Linus member, that does have an escape charge from a Texas prison, and she was an outside trustee. She was not doing a big, huge sentence, but she said, something just came over me. I was outside of the gates, and I thought, I'm not going back in there.
Right. I'm gone.
Yeah, so I'm grateful that you don't have that. You don't have that charge on your back, Toonche, because that carries with you.
Well,
for you wild ones, for you young ones going in and out of county jail, wilding out. I need to tell you, if you have an escape charge, period, whether you go to prison or not, that stays in your jacket forever. You could get in trouble as a 70-year-old woman who has a 60-year-old or 50-year-old escape charge, and that is still in your jacket. It doesn't expire. Those folks, they have it's like they're well aware that there's an escape charge. So if she goes to add seg, or if she's in transit, when she's in transit, she's going to have a special magnet on her door letting the officers know. All of that. So it's not looking good. It's not looking good for Kaitlin.
Well, we're down to the last few minutes here.
We are. We are. And so those of you, because we are pre-recording, but do know that I will be in the chat. Guys, my phone is blowing up. Someone incarcerated in a California county jail has been calling 1,000 times in a row. They're calling right now. Yes, because I'm on the tablet there now. and I don't know. And how did you get my phone number?
They're so resourceful. They're so resourceful.
They really are. You are in county jail, and you wrote this big long note to me on the Getting Out app, and I appreciate your support, but I don't know. I don't know what we have to talk about.
Somebody got to hold that phone number because you put it on your business card.
Well, I didn't have very good business advice, so I did have mine.
Wait, no, ma'am, because I said, Marci, what phone number do you want on this business card? I used the Lioness Google number, and you said, oh, that's fine. I'm going to do it in your voice, too. Oh, that's fine. You can put my number, just my cell number on it.
Okay, first of all, that's not my voice. We have 40 seconds to wrap this show up, Toonche.
Boom, 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 boom.
So, guys, thank you for joining us. And I didn't say it, but I need you guys to please share the live. Please hit the like button, tap your screen, get in the chat, get in the comment section. After this live is over, please share it. If you're listening wherever you hear your favorite podcasts, please do leave a review. We appreciate you guys so very much. We will see you same time, same place next week on the Recyard Women's Prison Podcast.
Thank y'all for hanging out with us on the Recyard Women's Prison Podcast with Marci Marie and Toonche. Make sure and subscribe to our channels so you'll never